Well, Fundación Chile is an experiment that has been alive for a long time, for 30 years. This is a non-profit organization, and also without purposes of losses. This foundation cares for the economic development in Chile through two paths: assistance to the companies, to the businesses, and intervention through public policies. Today, Fundación Chile is 50% belonging to BHP Billiton and 50% belonging to the Chilean state. What is the work that I will be presenting today? In a summarized manner, and this is the executive summary, we have the environmental information process. We started wondering what are the sustainability report and how we could systematize the work that the companies deliver on a periodical basis, and how to systematize this, to put this in information systems. So we did our task, and we took the sustainability reports and we started looking what the companies were reporting and what common patterns we could establish from them. And why are we concerned about this? And I will apologize because this is too obvious, but it is important to go to the basis. I believe that this is not a discussion that has much sense in terms of knowing the relevance of the companies, and even there's an effort to consider and value environmental management. No operations manager wants the mine to be stopped due to the pressure of the communities. That is one of his worst headaches. What in the past was considered as environmental liabilities, today this is an accounting reality. I am sure that in BP everybody knows that the environmental liabilities go to the accounting records. The care for the environment is increasing today, and this has happened in the Chilean history from the very beginning. We have mining in inhabited places. The tailings dam you see at the left is the size of a city. And fortunately for the miners, these dams have been in places that are very remote. We have some dams very near Santiago, but you don't see them. So there's an increasing importance of environmental issues. There are some countries where the populations near to the tailings dam is important, and that is a concern for those countries. Also, there is a predisposition to pay for environmental impacts at worldwide level. There is a higher concern to know how a certain commodity has produced in environmental terms. And today, frequently, the environmental management considers the report in the environmental, social, and economical areas. And in order to cover those requirements, the indicators have been developed, and these indicators are quotients or absolute indicators, and quotients of the use of resources divided by the production to try to fix a CL report. And from these indicators, there are sustainability reports that are the ones that we review. Actually, these sustainability reports have three stages. First, to measure the values of the indicators, to develop the reports, and formulate the indicators in an adequate manner. The generation of the reports requires to make the indicators to be homogenized in order to develop comparison or benchmarking criteria among the different companies. Our aim with this work is to compare the sustainability indicators for 12 mining companies, both medium-sized and large companies, in their annual reports for 2008. We wanted to identify the sustainability indicators used in the annual sustainability reports and their frequency of use, to analyze also the efficiency of the indicators. The sample is formed by 12 mining companies: Codelco, Collahuasi, Freeport, Anglo American, Antofagasta Minerals, and Shell. That is not a mining company, but we included because it was an interesting sustainability report. The comparison criteria are the guides of the Global Report Initiative of 2006 and the supplement published for mining industries. I said the method was to select the reports of this year, to select the analysis criteria, selected social and economic environmental indicators. We selected the ones that were related with the variables, and taking the data and to make a benchmark between the different companies and to measure that with the international standards. And here we have the specific companies: Anglo American, Antofagasta Minerals, Barrick, BHP Billiton, Codelco, Collahuasi, Xstrata, Shell, Exxon, Petrobras, and British Gas, and Freeport McMoran. I must deviate in commercial terms here. We are proud to say that most of these companies are our customers in the environmental issues. Regarding the selection of analysis criteria, we considered only the parameters related with the environmental, social, and economic indicators. We have seen that the sustainability reports all the information in relation to the communications area, but we only consider these three areas. We prepared a matrix where we listed the companies and the indicators mentioned, trying to homologate them because the description was similar, but what they were reporting was different. We made a gap analysis between the assumptions and the guide of sustainability reports. We determined the frequency of use of the indicators. We compared the information that each company contributed for each performance level according to the indicators reported for each one of them. We analyzed the indicators according to the criteria to be complied according to the OECD and ECLAC. We graded as high, medium, and low, depending if the requirement is completely fulfilled, more or less, or they are poor performances. Then which are the criteria for the grading? This is an average scientific validity, and this is according to the team that did this work: representativity, easy interpretation, response to changes, in other words, which was a partial derivative of the indicator measured. Then the response to changes relevant to the specific skills, pertinence and phase of the objectives of sustainable development to be understandable, clear, simple, and non-ambiguous, to be feasible, limited in number, and representative. And well, after the salad, we go to the meat, really, because here we have the results of the environmental performance indicators. We will look at three areas. This is the list of companies in the center and the indicators. We identified 43 environmental performance indicators. Global Report Initiative recommends 27. And in the reports analyzed, we saw as an average about 16. So So the comparison with GRI already shows a gap, and we have important gaps. Then we have the ranking of companies where Freeport was the one that was nearest to what GRI said, then Codelco, and in the lower part we have a BG Group with 9. Anglo-American, recognized for their quality of the reports, is before. Perhaps it is because they follow their own standard instead of GRI. What was considered as the most informed actions, emissions, residues, and spillages, and the least informed ones was the use of resources. We were asked for a work for the information system for having water consumption of the different companies and specific water use, the amount of water per ton of product, and this work is still underway. The idea of the work was to put the conversation in the plane of realities more than perceptions by a unit of GDP, how you compare agronomy with mining in terms of the use of water. So you can imagine the results here. Mining uses less water per unit of product than agriculture. Now, regarding the social performance indicators, again, the total shows a big spread. There's a large number of indicators. GRI took a high number, 49, but the mean of the reports analyzed reached 16, a small number. Again, Barrick advances in the charts. It's first in the amount of indicators shown. This Xstrata has the lowest amount of indicators. If we interpret this, Xstrata has operations in zones where the amount of communities present is very low. So in a social performance indicator report, there's no significant number of persons working on this. The most informed ones are the relationships with the communities. These are positive indicators, how many investments we have made, but there are less indicators about the negative perception of the community.
Respecto del desempeño económico, recordemos que
regarding the economic performance, the sustainability report is not an annual report of the company. So if there's a flaw in this dimension, always this can be included in the annual report. The economic performance indicators are 20. GRI recommends 15, and the mean is 6. Here we see that there are reports by other means, and we shouldn't repeat. And the champion is Collahuasi in this case, an Anglo-American Xstrata joint operation with some Japanese investments. The ones that are disgregated below from Los Bronces to Chagres are all Anglo-American operations that had not reported economic performance because they informed through the annual report. Now I show what definitely has instilled from this presentation. GRI, well, what we have in different colors. In gray, we have the GRI indicators for environment. In light blue, the GRI indicators in the social environment, and finally in the economic environment. And this is a summary of what I showed before. GRI is indicating much more than what is reported, and what is delivered by these reports is low, but it is not so low. In other words, they are near to what the GRI recommends. Which are the results of this? The amount of sustainability indexes reported has a similar trend to the ones proposed by the GRI guideline. Codelco, Petrobras, Barrick, and Freeport are the companies that communicate the highest amount of information, centering themselves in the social space. Here we have an analysis of the indicators. This is not it looks like a DNA bar anyway, but this shows the comparison of environmental indicators. On top we have the ideal indicator, and for each one of these indicators, for example, leaching of contaminant substances, spillages, and so on, how near or how far from the ideal indicator they are located. What is most difficult to face in reality of the operations is 60% near to what is recommended. And the other extreme, what is easier to report, that is a physical reality, the location and extension of the land use. This is very near to the ideal indicator. You will receive this work anyhow, but this is shown for the different indicators regarding which is the how near or how far they are regarding the ideal indicator. This is for the social indicators now. Here we have more data, and they are nearer to the ideal indicator, and the rate of absenteeism is an operation variable, and the companies have controlled this for always, and the report that is near the ideal is not a surprise. The one that has the least nearness to the ideal indicator is the planning of the economic development in the community, the third from top down. And here we have the economic indicators. In general, we have the things easy to indicate, the subsidies received with taxes. Then we have the salary expenses, the fourth bar in the screen. In definite terms, there are data that are less common. Now we go to the last minutes we have. We go to the conclusions of the work. First, there are deficiencies in the comparability and representativity. This is something that is adequate. Somebody said that these sustainability reports perhaps are the best paper used in the industry. Also, there's a need of establishing priority indicators for a sustainability report and to homologate these descriptive indicators for them to be comparable. The social indicators are the most represented in all the reports. They are easily feasible to be done, and they are according to the sustainability fundamentals. It is necessary to homologate some indicators used. Regarding the economic indicators, they are the least reported, and they are not exhaustively treated in the sample. They don't comply with the requirements of representativeness and scientific validity. Although all the companies follow the GRI guidelines, not all of them comply with the amount of the indicators suggested by the guideline. Of all the companies that present the reports, Codelco is the only company that is among the one that shows the highest amount of indicators. And this is a last slide that shows my trip to Colombia. In Colombia, we met with the people from the Ministry of the Environment with 5 access to report the information on the use of water, air, biodiversity, and human being. Actually, we believe that the trend will be that as it happens in accounting, there will be a common language in sustainability, and these will be the access where the information will be reported. In a few more years, we will see that mining companies and any type of company will have information systems that work in this manner. In the last slide, we mentioned that there's a lack from the government. In Chile, all the companies started making accounting through electronic means. At the moment, the Internal Revenue Service said that everything had to be done electronically. When the environmental control systems show a standardized form, the sustainability reports will be able to be compared and will be used systematically by the different companies. Thank you very much.